you have to lead by example. I want to show you guys something. I cleaned everything, the toilet and everything by hand. So I had to go down on my knees and clean the bathroom and show them. And then from there on, they realized that, okay, if chef cleaned the bathroom and it was so easy seeing him, watching him clean the bathroom, I should be able to do the same.
What's the biggest and hard lesson that you learned running a business? Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Counter, taking you deep into the stories of today's most successful Pinoy business owners. And today, I'm your host, once more, Chester Reyes. So, for today's video, if you're a current F&B owner or pangarap mo magkaroon ng sarili mong restaurant, then you're going to love our today's guest. He's the mastermind and chef behind some of Cebu's most well-loved restaurants such as The Weekend and Ilaputi. And please give a warm welcome to Sir John Rodriguez. Alright, Sir John. Kamusta naman po sila, sir?
Hi, awesome. Thanks for having me.
Now, Sir John, as an intro, I just would like to ask, sino ba si John Rodriguez in 3 words?
Okay. Father, husband, and restaurant owner.
Alright, thank you. Thank you, Sir John. Now, we're going to talk about more of your journey as an entrepreneur. So, one of your business, which is Ilaputi, started off as a karinderya. And it has evolved into a successful restaurant serving up comforting Asian soul food. And what was the journey like when it started up until now, Sir John?
Okay, I'll do a shorter version of a 22-year story. We started out as a karinderya right across one of the oldest universities in the Philippines. That's University of San Carlos, Talamban. And we air conditioned the karinderya, did a nice hip design, nice lighting, and served the usual comfort food, fried chicken, bola bola, pinakbet. And on the board, I would have 2 items that people ended up ordering more. So as people stopped buying the cooked food, the menu grew from 2 to 7 and to 14. And eventually, we stopped being a karinderya and we became like a fast casual restaurant serving fresh cooked food. Moving 4 or 5 years later, we moved to IT Park. Now we're a bigger place. We became one of the only 24-hour full service restaurant in IT Park, operating for 11 years. And from there, it was a combination of restaurant and bar. We had live bands every day, and we served the BPOs. So obviously, it's a 24-hour operation. And from then, 11 years later, we became a neighborhood restaurant frequented by families from Lola to Apo. So we became that parang comfort food for a big generation, with customers, loyal customers who dined with us as a student in 2002, and now back, still frequent visitors now with their children, and bringing in the children growing up as well. So it's a great journey for Ilaputi and how it is now, which was our ultimate goal of wanting Ilaputi to be familiar, comforting, and neighborhood restaurant that's accessible to everybody.
Parang, kumbaga yung kinalakihan, tama po ba, na restaurant, hanggang ngayon nadadala mo na, generation na yung nadadala mo sa restaurant na yan. Alright?
Right, that's right. Yes.
So, you also have a steakhouse and a bar called The Weekend. Ano naman po yung journey like building and opening it up, sir?
So I love burgers and I love steaks. I had a restaurant prior to this, back in 2014. We specialized in chopped steaks and burgers. But again, as I get older, my maturity and the skills I get to know, and through experimentation, we've achieved the best quality of those items in our menu now in the new concept of Weekend Steakhouse and Bar. So we uh, compared to Ilaputi, Ilaputi serves Southeast Asian like soul food. It's not soul food like the African soul food, but it's Asian soul food. So it's like comfort food from different Southeast Asian cuisines. While Weekend, we serve American and Mediterranean food. Focus on American pub fare, Mediterranean tapas, then chops, steaks, and has a full bar in the restaurant as well.
We heard that you grew up in a family who enjoy food. Did they play a big part in your love for and passion for the food today, sir?
Yes, most certainly. I grew up on my dad's side. They'd be cooking Japanese food and a lot of steak. On my mom's side, it's a lot of Spanish food. And on my mom's side, my grandparents coming from northern Luzon, so we're exposed to proper slow cooked food. Like really really good food. Other than that, we dine out a lot. Italian, Chinese, Japanese cuisine. So um, it's like building a library of flavors in my head that allow me to create dishes just by thinking about it, and it came out easier for me to develop recipes because I can taste them before I actually put them on before we implement it. So the process is much quicker.
Now, we also heard that you have a degree in biology and initially wanted to
Right.
become like a doctor. So, what made you decide, sir, to make a pivot to become a restaurateur or a chef instead?
I wanted to become a doctor to specialize in reconstructive surgery and preventive medicine. So I never stopped reading about the science behind it, most especially with nutrition up to today. Uh, the pivot was out of necessity. So um, my wife was pregnant, and so we had a son, and I had to feed my son, right? And I just came back uh, from the states. I worked there for a couple of years. Came back due to 9/11, and when I got here, took me about a year to figure out what to do. And so my eldest son doesn't eat rice, so I had to cook him rice that he would eat. So that's how the fried rice, my specialty fried rice started, which was the very first menu item in the karinderya. And I found a space. It was 40-seater space, quite big for a person with um, no experience, but we were able to make it work.
Sa audience natin na hindi nakakaalam, si Sir John, his first job was working at a front desk in Shangri-La. So talagang na-train siya in hospitality at one of the best hospitality chains in the country. Now, sir, how did that experience play in a part in you running your business today?
It played I would say, the major part of what we do today. We intently focus on hospitality, and the foundation for the principles of what hospitality should be was taught to us there, and now is innate to me and to my team. It made me understand, first and foremost, the difference between service slash servitude, and compared to what hospitality is, when you create experiences for guests as opposed to just serving them food for them to eat. So it is a very big part of my who I am today, and I'm very proud of it.
The Weekend, sa mga hindi nakakalam, is a well-known to be specialized in in-house dry age and only prime grade steaks, which nobody does in all of the Philippines. Alam nyo rin ba na sila ang pinaka nauna na mag-dry age ng pork and fish in the Philippines? Now, my question for you, Sir John, is how were you able to do all of this and become the first one in the Philippines?
With regards to your first statement, not certainly not the Philippines, but in Cebu, we're the only ones that serve all prime grade steaks, American and Japanese Wagyu. So the dry aging process is, you could say that very, I have this interest for anything about science, how things work, how things come together, and the dry aging process, which I started um, 7 years ago, actually, for the beef. It was easy. Was quick to learn about it. And one day, my brother sends me a message. You should check this guy out on Instagram, dry aged fish guy. I said, "Oh, interesting, dry aged fish. I didn't know that you could do that." And eventually, I found out that the best restaurants in Japan that serve sashimi, most of them are dry aged and with varying times of dry aging. Right, the fattier the fish, the longer you dry age it. So we purchased a separate chiller to dry age the fish. We started with yellowfin tuna. Actually, came out really successful in the first try, and so we moved on from yellowfin. We did bluefin, and now on the current menu, we have the coral grouper, sea bream, and mackerel. And because we are from Cebu, in Cebu, the I would say the capital of lechon, I have to try dry aging pork. So Weekend is known for our thick cut chops from the very beginning. And I said, let's try dry aging a whole slab of pork chop and see how it turns out. First try, uh, we cleaned up, we removed the bark, slice it, and we cooked it. And you should see the eyes on the look on everyone's faces when we tasted it. Because prior to this, we served Iberico pork in one of the dishes. When we tried the dry aged pork, it was mind blowing that you get the same or similar flavor profiles from the Iberico, but this one is made in house. So we're very proud of it, and we currently have it on the menu as well.
Naririnig ko pa lang yung kwento mo, talagang nakakatakam na yung menu nyo. Share sa Ilaputi and The Weekend. Now, sir, my next question would be, aside from being an owner and a chef, you also play a huge role in branding and marketing your restaurants. What's your work process like, sir? What makes you think that The Weekend has to be like this, or Ilaputi should be like that, sir?
Oh, in terms of marketing,
Yes, correct, sir.
so both restaurants uh, need to be marketed a certain way. You just need to ensure your brand presence. Say you must have a well curated and updated social media pages. Most of the people are on social media to search for restaurants and so on. To ensure that we get good reviews as well on Google and TripAdvisor. So the marketing part is very indirect because we spend our resources on uh, training our teams, some psychology on how to deal with guests. The goal of how do we get to our goal of creating a memorable and delightful dining experience, right? So when we achieve that, our guests become our marketing tool by word of mouth. So that's the kind of marketing we do because we are opposite to what QSRs and fast casual restaurants do when they set up billboards and promotions. So we do the complete opposite. We highly rely on word of mouth through the experience that we create for our guests in house.
But in terms of branding, sir, I just would like like a follow up question lang naman. Um, are there certain like target audiences na para kay Ilaputi, or meron bang targeted audience dito para kay The Weekend, or halo-halo ba? How did you decide on that?
In the concept of both, it's important that we make the restaurant available, make it welcoming to all age groups. As I mentioned earlier, from Lola to Opo, and it's very important to me that we attract professionals as well, students, young professionals, and older professionals, so all age groups. If you check our menu, we have a wide range of items that specifically address, let's just say, cravings from certain people. So in Weekend, for example, you have the more premium products like steaks and dried steaks and wagyu. Then you have the more friendlier products like burgers and pub fare, right? So it's a nice balance of our menu when developed, keeping in mind that we want to welcome everybody, not just a specific demographic.
And how important is the restaurant design to the diners and your team, Sir John?
Restaurant design is one of the components to create that dining experience, right? It has to come full circle. It has to be on a holistic approach. So the interior design that involves colors, textures, choice of furniture, lighting and color temperature, mm, the sound system, the clarity of the sound system, aircon temperature. So it is all that, and then the fourth and the fifth would be food quality and the service, right? So everything has to come together. Without um, you'd say stimulating the senses, visual, auditory. So everything has to come into play to create the experience that we're aiming for each of our guests.
For a free advice to our listeners, to our viewers, Sir John, what design strategies or concepts do you think that every restaurant should have?
Your interior design should reflect the personality of your concept, right? Your brand. Uh, from the brand perspective, a brand is what creates that emotion for your target market or your guests. And with that, with the personality of your restaurant matching your brand and matching your cuisine as well, and most importantly, on my side, I since I like doing design, so I have to design it in a way that I'd feel comfortable and I'd enjoy being in that space, uh, making it very personal to me, from aesthetics to anything tactile, to the food, to the drinks, and so on. So everything is quite personal to me for our brands.
I hope our listeners and viewers would be able to get that tip directly firsthand from Sir John. Ano? So thank you po for that.
You're welcome.
Now, a lot of Filipino dream of becoming their own boss and running their own business. But I know, syempre, it's not a walk in the park naman, di ba, Sir John? Has there ever been a time that you wanted to give up or yung sabihin natin na, ay, sige, tigil ko na to. Balik na lang ako dun sa first job ko or yung, in biology. Di ba, sir? How did you
Yeah.
overcome that one, sir?
Well, I there was never a time that I wanted to give up. It From the very beginning, it's an upward momentum. It's always been exciting. I love researching. I love learning, and at the same time, I like teaching. Um, and most importantly, so I was able to incorporate the different passions, right? So I love to do interior design. I do photography. uh, I love burgers and steaks. I love tapas, craft beers, and cocktails. um, uh, putting it all together allows me to not only maximize what I can offer to my own business, but it was easier for me to be able to do so, as different aspects of that is usually outsourced to everybody, I'm able to do on my own. So every day is an exciting day for me. Every day you learn something new, and every time that I learn something new, I teach to my team to further elevate their experiences, skill wise.
It really boils down to the passion. When you started, kasi kitang-kita ko for that one with you, sir, parang you incorporate everything that you love into your business. So thank you po. Now, Sir John, what's the biggest achievement you have so far? How did you make it happen, and what are the things you learn along that way?
It's very clear. Well, my biggest achievement would be my team. I'm very proud to say that 99% of them had little or no prior restaurant experience. We I specifically choose the character and build from there. So we are able to serve guests in an environment that serves elevated food done by a team, as I mentioned earlier, with little or no prior knowledge, but able to execute uh, dishes and beverages that you would find in other restaurants that are manned by culinary graduates and chefs. So that is my biggest achievement.
If given a chance that you go back in time when you first started, what's the one advice you'd like to give yourself before from that past?
Mm. Everything must be in black and white.
Meron mo ba
Yeah.
kayong experience, sir, that masasabi natin with
Oh
that?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. When you're younger, you're eager, but as you get older, maturity and it has to come into play to, of course, protect me and my family as well, right? So yeah, have everything written down.
All right, have everything written down. So, with that follow up question, sir, what's the biggest and hard lesson that you learned running a business?
Mhm. Location is everything. Location is everything. uh, Location and forecasting that location is so important to the success of a business. No matter how good your brand is, no matter how strong your brand is, but you may see a space that is centrally located with super high traffic, and then the government starts a road construction that lasts a year,
Mhm.
and then your profits just crash. So a good location doesn't mean it will be perfect for the business. So there are attributes that you have to, like a checklist you must have before when choosing a space. So everybody has to really focus on that.
As a personal question, which mistake gave you the most valuable lesson for you and your business today, sir?
That's the choice of location. So yeah, we had three locations that we had to close down due to different circumstances. To make it quick, one was building mismanagement. Even McDonald's closed because I was next to McDonald's. Even McDonald's had to close in the location. The second one was due to a road repair that affected two of my restaurants. The third one would be exciting location, and then uh, we lost all the surface parking space because the biggest lot area that could accommodate like 200 cars was now boarded up to put up a mall. So it is not our fault for the closure, but these things happen and you couldn't really foresee it. But if you do your research a little bit more, learn more about the space, if these things happen, how it would affect you. So therefore, it is something that you need to, again, to pay more attention to, and have a nice checklist to go through. Maybe consult with other restaurant owners on their experiences as well. So to add on to your learnings on space for any location of choice.
I remember saying before that a wise man learns from their mistake,
Mhm.
but now it's a wiser move to learn from other people's mistake para at least hindi mo na siya ma-experience and for you to actually go and learn. So, ayan, pasalamatan natin si Sir John na he's giving us this advice to us, alright? So, thank you po. Now, in terms of operations naman, Sir John, how do you manage multiple restaurants all at once? Sa busy schedule mo, sir.
Mm. So you cannot, the old saying goes, the owners must be the store to ensure that the store runs smoothly. That's no longer true nowadays. And if you need to be at the restaurant, you'll never grow your business. So um, just like StoreHub, the ability to have the back office everywhere I go, we use Viber to communicate with all the restaurants. So we create chat groups that's specific to concerns. For example, we have a chat group for incident reports. So as the incident happens, everyone is updated. And as I send them, for example, solutions to address the situation, they receive it immediately, and we get to address the concern before it worsens. And with my team, after so many years, we have formed what we call our A team. So these guys do restaurant visits and do the quality assurance and ensure that the kitchen standards and the dining standards are followed. And just to keep in touch with everybody, um, I don't regularly go to the restaurant, but I do visit them. No, I visit them regularly, but I'm not there on a daily basis. So it's also nice to keep touch with your team because they also like to see you. And you arrive, they have big smiles on their face, and you say hi, hellos, and yeah, it's really good. But the way we manage the team more efficiently is through Viber. It's really an excellent tool.
Can you share more about how you became so skilled in so many aspects of the restaurant operations, Sir John?
It starts with having to do it yourself, and because I'm a big fan of efficiency, so first you do this and you find ways to make it more efficient as time goes by. So obviously in the small karinderya, you start off with having to cook, wash dishes, talk to guests, do cashiering, purchasing of inventory, doing accounting, doing the marketing. So as the restaurant got bigger, you see more of the things that needs to get done, and to understand these things or these issues or concerns, you need to be able to create your own process and make it as efficient to ensure that each of these are addressed in a timely manner. And it is something that we can relay later on, which I have with my key team members, specifically on their tasks. So this is something that you get to accumulate over, well, in my case, over 2 decades of operations. And I'm lucky that with the help of my wife in the beginning, we're able to put up these systems, our different department processes that make it easy for our staff or our team members in different restaurants to be able to execute.
Now, how do you approach improving efficiency in both the front office and the back of the office po, or yung back house po nila, operations?
Let's talk a little bit more specific. So for the front of the house, for both, we always start with a company culture of honesty and humility and integrity and so on. And once you build that foundation, the trainings that follow from basic customer service to learning what true hospitality is, and then continuously improving for efficiency becomes easier because as you train them to be as good as you, they are able to train others to be as good as everybody else. So it's uplifting everybody together so that even the newest ones, the newest team members can function at the same level as the senior members. So for the kitchen, say purchasing, forecasting and purchasing, analyzing the forecasting and sales from historical data and so on. So we created systems and processes for this, which we improve as we can, which makes it easier. So if the key people are not present to execute these duties and responsibilities, then the others who already had been trained to do it can easily step up in their place and do the same thing. So we have a general rule in the kitchen: everybody must know how to do everything. So even our dishwasher cooks. Our dishwasher started with a fry station, the grill, and now it's doing saute. So it's a continuous learning process and do better for everybody else. So all about efficiency, all about continuous teachings and learnings to improve everybody to achieve that certain standard.
Right, so napaka-uplifting ng values na binibigay niyo po dito sa inyong business kasi with that is all persons, sabi mo nga, is natututo or alam ang dapat nilang gawin. So technically, you're duplicating another you so that the business would run
Right.
efficiently as possible. So
Correct. Yeah.
napakaganda.
Yeah.
So
Right.
talagang here, we can say that the old mentality, yung talangka mentality, yung crab mentality na imbes na, uy, ako lang nakakaalam nito, only I can do this. So now everybody can do it to run it smoothly. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that sharing, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Now, what are the hardest part of running your business on the day-to-day operations po? And let's say, how do you handle it, Sir John?
Okay, so each of the my personal tasks, it would it would be strange to say that it's easy because it is. We've been doing it for so long, but it's easy because we are mindful of what we do and we ensure that everything is done right. However, I guess most restaurateurs would say that the most challenging part of the restaurant business is always anything to do with a team member. So sometimes there is one apple that turns bad, and you have to address the situation before it affects the other apples. Uh, that is the most challenging part. As you know, the Philippines is the Department of Labor is very pro employee, which they should be, but oftentimes they they fail to they fail to appreciate the restaurateur side. So it documentation is very important. Counseling is very important, and being open with my team members. And I personally talk to them on how we can address certain situations so we can help them out. Because uh, I want everybody in the workplace to be happy. If you're happy in your workplace, you will bring that happiness at home. If you're happy at home, you'll have a happy family. Going to work the next day, looking forward to being happy there would make their jobs easier. So we have to keep that peace in the workplace. You could say we strive to maintain a certain height of that happiness quotient. So that is so important to me and to the business because I care about my team members and their well-being is a top priority of mine.
What do you believe is the foundation of a successful restaurant, Sir John, both in terms po of operation and company culture?
Uh, First, you need to be uh, you need to be honest about what you do. So if you open a restaurant, some people would open a business because uso, um, and that has a tendency to fail because there is no love in it. So, but if it's in very intentional that, okay, I want to open a gotohan. What is the purpose of opening a gotohan? I want to be able to serve this community with something nutritious and at a good price. So there's meaning to what you do. And at the same time, when you open a food business, uh, in the hospitality standpoint, satisfactory is never enough. You have to elevate and innovate as much as you can, not only to stay relevant but to challenge the status quo and to challenge not to challenge but to be an example for other restaurateurs to live up to. So in a sense that you could be an inspiration to other businessmen, to show them that something that seems to be difficult or almost impossible to do can be done, and therefore it opens their horizons to, okay, now I know I could do this, let me try something. So in to inspire everybody else that okay it's not okay. You have to elevate and make something out of yourself, and which uplifts your team members, and it becomes a chain reaction of positivity.
So you're paving the way that you show them na ito kaya kong gawin and be that inspiration for them to do the same. All right. Now, Sir John, how do you go about hiring new staff, and what traits do you look for when bringing someone into your team po?
So based on experience, we I found that hiring college graduates, which a lot of people would say, oh, you're discriminating. Um, Not necessarily college graduates, but also those who have strived to finish vocational courses, especially in relation to the job that they're applying for, right? So, for example, if you want to apply as a cook, and I interview you and I ask, okay, there's no experience, you have no experience, you're a fresh graduate or no degree, but at the college level, uh, what do you cook at home? So he would say, "Oh, I cook this and this," and I would make them explain to me the process, so I know if they really cook or not. And then I would say, "Okay, can you go to the kitchen and cook me 2 eggs?" And I'd make them cook me two kinds of eggs and see how well they manage the fire and how well they cook. So I get a gauge of what they do. On the other hand, when we talk about college graduates, you have to the most common answer of why they took a certain course that they want to experience and learn the restaurant operations or learn new cuisine or wanting to work the front of the house, and they love to be meeting people and or learning cocktails and so on. uh, People forget that these guys parents spend for their tuition, which is quite high nowadays, right? So they would need to recoup that investment from their parents. And these are the people who take the jobs more seriously because in that 4 years time, they woke up early in the morning. They had to sit in class and behave. They have to submit their projects, do their OJTs. So there's a lot of investment. And when you go through that 4 years, it instills a type of discipline that is so important in the hospitality industry. So it really plays a big factor.
Well, honestly speaking, here in the Philippines, ang nangyayari kasi is gusto natin yung may experience na para mas mapadali natin sila mapatrabaho. Diba, sir? Now, how do you approach training and developing these fresh graduates to ensure that they quickly adapt and excel in their roles, sir?
So for the kitchen, we have training modules that I've created that start them off with observation, and we teach them the basics, the basic science of when you make somebody saute, but they don't understand the what the process is all about, and they don't have any experience, they'd most likely uh, do it incorrectly. But if you teach them why certain things have to be done this way, like why do we slice an onion a certain way for specific types of cooking? You want to caramelize an onion, you can slice them this way. You get the sugars out faster and so on. So when they start cooking, they now have the knowledge of why they must do that, and they will most certainly do not go against the instruction because they know it's easier to achieve something when they follow the guidelines, right? So the more they learn, they go through more complex modules that we've created, and all this in a very short span of time. We try our best to have them master the saute, which is the busiest part of the kitchen, in 1 month's time. So they enjoy the training. There's a lot of learning, and at the same time, there's a lot of exposure because we have it implemented immediately and see where we can improve on or what do we need to correct to get them to do everything as stated on the modules.
The way you answer that question, lumalabas talaga dito yung passion mo about teaching. So you really would like to give out the best of the best to your team po for that.
Right. Yes.
Alright.
Yeah.
And ano naman po yung core values that you instill on your team?
First and foremost, it's integrity, humility, honesty, the willingness to take responsibility and accountability. So when you start off with these core principles, which is very close to the divine principles, do what's good, do what's right. Uh, it 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 is very infectious to everybody. Uh, what I'm saying is the positivity is very infectious, and when everybody's infected, you go into the restaurant, you'll see everybody smiling and enjoying their time, which makes them feel that what they're doing is very easy, as opposed to seeing maybe front of the house in specific restaurants where they're not smiling, like they're forced to do things, and these things has a direct effect on how they affect the guests, and it's a very subconscious thing. A lot of people don't know it, so I train my staff, my team on it. That the way you are, your mood for that day will directly affect the customer that you talk to or you serve. So we try to keep a very happy workplace through uh, d- creating that foundation of those core principles.
Positivity resonates. So, pag masaya, lahat share po natin yan. Alright. Now, sir,
That is so true. Yes.
as a leader, as a head of Ilaputi, and as a head of The Weekend, what are the most important lessons you learned through your career in the restaurant industry, sir? Yung leadership lessons natin.
Leadership lesson. You have to lead by example. So here's a nice story. When cleaning bathrooms, maybe it could make somebody feel that they are above their where they are to clean a bathroom because they're supposed to be dining staff, right? So one day, I said, I want to show you guys something. So I went in the bathroom with no gloves. I cleaned everything, the toilet and everything by hand, and I did it in a because I do it at home. So I did it in a very efficient manner, and then I showed them if you clean the bowl properly or the urinal properly, and the bowl is completely smooth and the urinal is completely smooth, it's easier to maintain. And when you clean the bathroom properly, I want people to come in our bathrooms and feel like they're in a hotel bathroom. So, bathroom design, cleanliness, and odor free is so important to me personally. So I had to go down on my knees and clean the bathroom and show them, and then from then on, they realized that okay, if chef cleaned the bathroom and it was so easy seeing him watching him clean the bathroom, I should be able to do the same. And so moving forward, it was easier for them to address the bathroom issue, and we're able to maintain the bathroom better. So yeah, you have to lead by example.
Sir, follow-up question ko lang. Ano ano ang naramdaman? Ano yung expression nila nung nakita ka nilang nag-i-scrub ng bathroom floor?
Uh, they they were, alam mo naka yung what's the Tagalog term for that? Nakatunga nga,
Nakatulala ka
like
ganun, sir,
like
parang shock.
wow. Yeah. They couldn't understand how I could just use my hands and get there and dirty myself, right? So yeah, because from being a biology graduate and my wife's a nurse too, so that medical thing in our household is so important as well. So in the house, I clean my own bathroom from time to time. So it was easy for me to do and to set as an example.
Alright, so ito po talaga yung perfect example ng lead. True example po,
Lead, right?
Alright, thank you, thank you. Now, with your hospitality experience in Shangri-La, customer experience must be very important to you in your business. When you first started out, what was it like trying to get your first customer? Did you have any specific tactics that worked really well?
Well, I was lucky that the karinderya was positioned a few meters to the right of the main gate of the university where the courses for interior design architecture was taught. And so we were the only karinderya in the area that was air conditioned with a hip interior, as I mentioned earlier. So on our first day, we were full house and mostly females and interior design and architecture students. And from then on, it just spread by word of mouth. Maybe in the beginning, the home cooked food we served was very good already. Plus, the place is air conditioned, so it's a respite from them from the heat of the classrooms to come to somewhere where they can rest in a very comfortable and cold area. They could rest for an hour. So we became very popular with that, specifically with the air conditioning. So everything from then on was word of mouth.
Now, what strategies have you found to be successful in attracting new customers and keeping current ones, Sir John?
The marketing we do is strictly from guest experience. So uh, we have a very high guest retention rate, and we have very high flow of new customers as well. So with the new customers, they're mostly through the word of mouth, and some would stumble upon one of our social media pages, or somebody traveling, local tourist looking for a restaurant through the Google listing, right? So when these people come to the restaurant, it's of utmost importance to us to create that dining experience for them to share their experience. That's the word of mouth, and that is a continuous process. So that's how we're able to grow all our restaurants.
All right. Now, what are some strategies you do, whether that's in customer service, design of the restaurant, quality of food, that ensures that every diner, yung kumakain sa atin, that comes into your restaurant has the best dining experience po?
It's about uh, the guest interaction with my team. So if you if you check our reviews, you will notice that the reviews are mostly about uh, enjoying their visit because of how welcome they feel. That's besides the food already and everything else, and it's always about meeting anyone or a lot of my team. So to give an example, the the biggest tip my team received was 26,000 from one person,
Wow. Wow.
and then a week after they had a tip of 15,000. Months prior to that, one of the highest was 16,000. Those are all from one people, by the way. Yeah, so it says a lot about the quality of experience that these guests experience. The guests feel when they are not just dining but in the presence of my team. This is for both kitchen and dining, by the way, because we have an open kitchen, so they can easily interact with people in the kitchen or people in the bar, or our dining or the dining team. So it's one wonderful experience.
Have you tried any strategies na hindi naman po nag-work out as you have planned? Are there any instances po?
A long time ago, when this was back in 2000. So we just turned 1 year, uh, and during the summer, obviously there's not as much students in the university, so I thought of introducing like a value meal, right? Uh, I remember it was 35 peso value meals at that time, and I created a poster out of it and had it printed and put it on the glass outside. And what happened was my sales crashed. So the lesson learned there is, if if you if you have low traffic, and which a lot of restaurants do nowadays, we have if the traffic is slow and you give up promotions by giving them discounts, you not only devalue your brand, but you're going to affect your sales. So while during that moment in the early stages, you think that you've had um, lured in new customers. What happens is the place is filled with these type of customers that are price uh, they're there for the pricing. You lose the regular customers who usually pay for the full price, and after a certain amount of time you lose both. So that was a very valuable lesson for me, and I thought this is something that can only be done with QSR concepts. If you do it in a casual restaurant and you don't have enough seats, or you are a single concept restaurant, you will ruin your brand for sure.
To all our viewers and listeners, ano yun, pag-isipan po natin at mag-strategize tayo ng mabuti with all the learnings that we got from Sir Jan. Now, let's take a break and have some real fun. Have you heard of rapid fire questions, Sir Jan?
Yes, I have. Let's do it.
Alright, for sa mga ating newly listeners and viewers, how this works is that we'll ask questions and you have to answer the first thing that comes into your mind. So, okay po
Mhm.
ba tayo, sir?
Let's go. Fire away.
First question, Lisa is the game. Ribeye or filet mignon?
Ribeye, always.
Rare or well done?
Rare.
Bone in or boneless?
Bone in.
Steak sauce or no sauce?
No sauce.
Grilled or pan seared?
Grilled.
Mashed potatoes or baked potato?
I don't do carbs.
All right. Cream spinach or asparagus?
I don't eat vegetables either.
How about this one,
Yeah.
sir? Red wine or craft beer?
Red wine,
Ayun.
100%.
All right. So we're almost at the end of today's episode, but I have a few questions to ask pa po. Now, what does 2024 looks like for the weekend or Ilaputi?
Okay, so since the pandemic, we had about 3 years to we have already operated 3 years post pandemic, and a lot of the usual predictive factors have changed due to it. So this year it's kind of settled down a little bit. It's more settled now, most especially with the change of the moving of the graduation dates and the enrollment dates. It really affects the traffic, the restaurant traffic. So we are mid-year, and as always, it's always an upward trend towards March. No, sorry, towards February. No, March, Mother's Day. So it's always a trend, is upward trend. So we're really looking forward to it, and we are also introducing a lot of new items on the menu. We just introduced several new steak options like grass-fed ribeye. We have different cuts, subprimals and primal cuts from Australia, so mostly grass-fed, and a lot more options for wagyu, and a lot of new starters, which I'm removing most of it and replacing it with a new set. And we are introducing a four course menu in a six-course menu, and a six-course menu with wine pairing option for diners that they could book ahead to experience our dinner curation. So something exciting for me and my team as well.
And we are very much excited din po sa mga naibigay niyo sa aming insight for the upcoming for the weekend in Ilaputi po. Ano? So sa mga menu, sa mga bagong creations, can't wait maka-visit ng Cebu for this
Yes,
once in a
please.
lifetime
Let me know when
experience.
you guys are here.
All right, sir. We'll do. We will do, sir, as soon as possible po. Now, in our last episode, we asked Sir Darwin Seredo of the Color Bar to ask you this question. With your current business or your current brand, what do you think is the most appropriate next venture that you can maximize the brand that you have established?
I would love to open in Manila for sure. Um, we are aiming to open in BGC. It's got a really good population, very high pedestrian traffic, and has been a go-to place for several years now. And understanding that a lot of the big businesses have moved to BGC from Makati for many reasons. So there's a very big population to serve, and I think Weekend is not just ready for Manila, but anywhere in Asia.
It's your turn to ask our next guest a question. What would you want to ask them for the next episode?
Mm, how did you establish your company culture, and how does it affect the growth of your business?
Sana masagot ng ating next interviewee, and we'll inform you po, we'll keep you posted what will be their answer for your question, Sir John. Now, that's it for today. So, going back to the discussion that we have to our viewers. So, we should thank Sir John and put in mind and to our hearts yung mabinigay na lessons. Actually, hindi lang life lessons, it's also business lessons that we learn from Sir John for today. So sana marami po kayong tips na natutunan, and thank you so much, Sir John, for joining us for today's podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. Thank you.